All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation and much love to you, Akim, out there pushing out his word in truth and sincerity. And I just want to do a quick video, concerning this whole thing going on with Iran, all right, the tensions that are building up, all right, the war, the acts of war that have taken place. And we've been warning you, all right, to get right before the judgment comes. And you see how a couple days, day 3 into 2020, all right, according to Esau's calendar, all right, the Lord has already begun to make moves. All right, there's a lot going on around the four corners of the earth, and it's all centered around prophecies of Yahweh Shem Shai. So as you should know by now, America just did some strikes in Iraq and Syria, and consequently, they have killed one of the Iranian generals, I believe it was. Yep, a U.S. general. The U.S. killed a Iranian general, one of the top guys. So this is really getting tensions going and really getting the Ww3 going, as the scriptures say. All right, and if you know biblically, the Iranians are Persians. Okay, so we're gonna keep that in mind as well. So nonetheless, we'll just go ahead and start getting into these scriptures. I'm not gonna go into any articles per se, but you should know what's going on by now. If not, well, there's plenty of articles. All I did is type in Iran. You're gonna get countless articles. Turn on the news. Even your local news will be talking about the dangerous situation that America has put themselves in. Okay, not only because Iran has nuclear capabilities, but Iran also has allies, which happen to be Russia, China, possibly North Korea, and Turkey as well. But nonetheless, because the Lord is setting the table up. The Lord is setting the stage up for the Armageddon, as they call it, or Armageddon, which means the mountain of troops. And where will those mountain of troops be gathered up? In the Middle East. Okay, this is Joel chapter 3 verse 9. It says, "Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." And if you've seen, America has just sent more troops into Iraq. Okay, all right, the war drums are beaten. All the mighty men are being brought into the Middle East over there, or the Levant region. Okay, or the Yahweh Shaphat, meaning the Lord's judgment. And this is where the Lord's judgment is going to take place, over there in the Middle East. This is where it's going to begin. All right, World War III will begin in the Middle East. All right, and this is just another catalyst to fuel the fire. Okay. They say, verse 10. Well, let me read that again. It says, "Prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up." Now you have different countries, all right, all heading into the Middle East, whether it be putting boots on the ground, all right, sending warships to the seas out there, okay, or sending some kind of military equipment into the Middle East. And it's all because of the Heavenly Father's will, because He wants World War III to happen. And you can see that it is happening. All right, World War III has begun. It just hasn't exploded to the level where everyone has accepted reality. Okay, but it has begun. It says, verse 10, beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And see, now the weak can say they are strong because now they have the same technology as the U.S. All right. Now nations that previously couldn't stand up and come up against America, stand up for themselves. Now they have the weapons capability via the thermonuclear missiles to withstand America, so to say, so that America can't just come in and bully them all around. Okay, and this is what you have taking place in Iran right now. Okay, Iran now has nuclear capabilities. They continue to produce uranium and other materials to create nuclear capable missiles, and now they have Russia on their back. Right, they have China in their corner. So now they can puff, they can say to hell with America. That's why you have those chants going on right now. All right, I'll give you the translation of it. Mawatha ball. All right, you have people storming the embassy over there in Iraq, and they're supposedly, allegedly, backed by Iranians. But nonetheless, the weak are now saying they're strong. So this is ultimately what's going to lead America to invade. Ultimately, America will invade Iran, and this is going to cause other nations to get involved. Okay, because all the nations already have troops over there in the Middle East. All right, you got the European countries that have troops out there. You have the Russians, the Chinese out there. Okay, yeah, a lot of the tensions is boiling over. Okay. It says, assemble yourselves and come all ye, verse 11, Joel 3 and 11, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, or Jehoshaphat, meaning the Lord's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord's going to judge all the heathen round about, including 2/3 of our own people, because 2/3 of our own people is going to be drafted into the military, and a lot of them is going to be slaughtered over there in the Middle East. Okay, but nonetheless, this is what is taking place right now. And the Lord is gathering. He's gathering the host out there, man. He's gathering the nations. All right. Verse 13, it says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full. The fast overflow, for the wickedness is great. And that's what's going on, man. The press is full right now. The harvest is ripe. And now the Lord's about to send the sickle, all right, to reap. All right, look at this. Iran promises retaliation after U.S. kills generals live. Updates, okay. So this is what's currently taking place in the world right now, and America's directly tied to this. So you military men, I would be very worried right now if I were you, because you may very well get a call very soon saying that you're going overseas. Okay. Verse Joel 3 and 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. And there you go. That's what the valley of decision is going to be over there in the Middle East. And you can see what the Lord is doing. All right, the Lord is preparing, all right, this war with the Persians. All right, see, that's why what Apostle Tahar a while back has said, whenever he sees something about North Korea on the news, he don't get too excited. But when he sees something about Iran or Persia, all right, then the Lord's doing something. Or when they talk about the Russians, because that's what the scriptures talk about. All right, scriptures don't talk about how North Korea would come up against Babylon the Great. Okay, but it does say this. Let's go to Ezekiel 38. It says this is Ezekiel 38 and 1. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Because you remember, the Russians, they're Edomites just as right along with the Americans, okay, the Babylonians. Okay, Russia is still part of the Edomites, okay. All right, and it mentions them in the book of Revelation when it talks about well, let me get that. It's like the bear, the leopard, and then the bird. I think it's in Revelation. Yep, Revelation 13:2. It says, Revelation 13:1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and the seat and the great authority. All right, so the Russians there is the bear, the feet of the bear is referring to the Russians, because ultimately that's going to be the end of this beast. All right, because ultimately Russia is not part of the EU or NATO, but they're still part of Esau Edom's system. All right, they're still part of. They ain't doing nothing that the elites ain't telling them to do. All right, and they just so happen to be the feet because it's the end. The Russians are going to be the end of this beast. All right, because they're ultimately going to be the one to lead the charge to destroy it, among other many nations. Okay. So, we prophesy against Gog and Magog as well. So back in Ezekiel 38:3 it says, and say, thus saith Yahweh Bashim Shai, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And that's what the Most High Yahweh Bashim Shai, all right, is doing to these Russians. All right, turning these former USSR nations back into that hating America spirit, all right, back into that Cold War spirit, and now it's a hot war. Okay, it's been going on for a while, but now Russia is great allies with Iran, all right, and China. They've sent them S-300s. They trained some of their soldiers a couple years back, and now as we speak, a couple days ago, Iran, Russia, and China have been running naval drills. Okay, out there in one of those seas or the Gulfs out there in the Middle East. Right? It says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And that's that Russian technology, man, that's coming out. You see the Vanguard, the Poseidon, the Satan II missiles, the S-300s, the S-400s, all right, the hypersonic missiles, the all these missile defense systems is the top notch. All right, and so they're gonna bring all this. The Lord's making them bring all of that and give it amongst these nations, separate. What's it called? Spread it among all these nations: Pakistan, Iran, India, Turkey. All right, China. All these people are buying up Russian technology as far as weaponry. All right, in defense. Verse 5, Persia, Persia, which remember the Iranians are Persians. Persia, because before they changed to Iran, I believe it was called Persia over there. All right, you can do the research on that. It says Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Remember, Libya was on the, that was a hot thing going on back in like 2010. All right, and they still in that region. All right, they're still being oppressed by America. It says in Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. What do you use shield and helmet for? Go to war. All right. All right, we read in Joel 3. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah and the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. So these are all going to be the allies of Russia. All right. Iran being one of them, Persia. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepared for thyself. Okay. Prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So Russia ultimately is going to be a guard unto these nations. Keely, Persia, the Iranians. So when the Iranians retaliate, this is going to escalate. They might attack Saudi Arabia. They might attack Iran. They might attack U.S. embassies. Who knows what they're going to do? But the Lord is going to do something and force Esau's hand. All right. The Russians will step in. Not may. They will step in along with China, along with Turkey, along with other nations in the region, along with the Europeans. All right, the European Union, the NATO. NATO will have to step in it. All right, so and then ultimately this is going to lead to the hatred of the whore, because they're saying they're going to be, the Lord's got this thing going, man, and it's working out beautifully. All right, and ultimately the destruction of America, thus saith the Lord, is coming. All right, Babylon the Great will be destroyed by the Heavenly Father. Okay, and that's biblical. This is Isaiah 13. Let's just read a couple verses out of here. This is Isaiah 13:4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the hosts of the battle. Hosts meaning the armies. That's what the Lord is doing right now. So what ultimately these armies, these militaries, they're going to shoot off the weaponry of the Lord, the arsenal of the Lord, the weapons of his indignation, which are these ICBMs. Because ultimately, mostly all the nations are going to come up against America, except for Israel, maybe, you know. But even America's allies, the Europeans, nations are going to turn on America, right? EU and NATO will hate the whore, pursuant to Revelation 17:18. All right. It's going on, verse 5. This is talking about the nuclear destruction. All right. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. The whole land of what? The whole land of Babylon the Great, the good old USA. All right. So these missiles will come from all these other nations to destroy the whole land, which ultimately, again, are the weapons of Yahweh's indignation. All right. Verse 6, Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Right, and there you go. We'll end off on that. The destruction of the Lord is coming. All right. And this is yet another catalyst to get this thing going. All right. So keep your eye on this prophecy unfolding, this current event, and pray that the Lord shortens the days for the elect's sake. Shalom.